Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 18 and 19 about the reflexive verbs, using it in future tense, and also I'm combining the conjunctions in this week's lesson. So we're going to go ahead and get started with some sentence examples and also breaking down what exactly is the future tense conjugation of reflexive verbs. So as you all remember, the regular conjugation for future tense, it stays the same for the ER verbs, IR, and AR verbs. And of course, you have the irregular verbs. So if you take a look at this, you see the comparison. It's the same exact conjugation. You keep the verb as is, and you just add on the endings. As, a, hemos, and an. So let's go ahead and look at some sentence examples using the reflexive verbs in the future tense. So here we're going to use the verb despertarse, which is to wake up. Yo me despertaré, I will wake up. Tú te despertarás, you will wake up. Él se despertará, or you can say ella se despertará, he or she will wake up. Nosotros nos despertaremos, we will wake up. Ellos or ellas se despertarán, they will wake up. So once again, you notice that despertarse is still an AR verb. It's just an AR reflexive verb. So you're just going to add the endings as, a, hemos, and an, just like you would do any other verb. So let's go ahead and take a look over here at the next verb, levantarse, which also means to wake up, and you can say to get up. You can use it interchangeably. Despertarse literally means to wake up, and levantarse means to get up, okay? Or to get oneself up because it's reflexive. So you have yo me levantaré, I will wake up. Tú te levantarás, you will wake up. Él or ella se levantará, he or she will wake up. Nos levantaremos, we will wake up, or we will get up. Se levantarán, they will get up. So once again, levantarse actually means to get up, but you can use it interchangeably. And just a quick reminder, you do not have to use the pronouns yo, tú, nosotros, or ellos in front of the conjugation when it comes to reflexive. Some people will use the pronouns along with the reflexive pronouns, but you do not have to do that. You don't have to say yo me levantaré. You can just say me levantaré, because me is already indicating that's referring back to yourself. You don't have to say yo me. You can just say me. However, I put it there just so you can know which pronoun it belongs to, because when you are going from using regular pronouns such as with regular verbs like yo hablo, ella trabaja, etc., it can be a little difficult when you're adding another type of pronoun in there, which are the reflexive pronouns, because now you have the me, te, se, nos, se. So some people get confused with that, especially with se levantará or se levantarán. You have to know that that's not the same. The ending determines who you're talking about. The an indicates that's they. Se levantarán, right? Se levantará goes with él or ella. So I put those there just to kind of help you to realize what goes with what pronoun, but it's not necessary to use those pronouns. So I don't want anyone to say, levantaré en la mañana. No. Levantarse is a reflexive verb, so you have to say, me levantaré en la mañana. Do you have to say yo? Absolutely not, but you can. It's not incorrect. You can either say yo me levantaré, or you could just say me levantaré. No matter what, you have to use the reflexive pronoun with the reflexive verb. So let's take a look at some more sentence examples in the future tense using the reflexive verbs. We have me peinaré el pelo mañana. I will comb my hair tomorrow. Ella se levantará más tarde. She will get up later. She will get herself up later. Either or. ¿Te bañarás hoy? Did you bathe yourself today? Don't ask anyone that question, by the way. Nos preocuparemos más tarde. Nos preocuparemos más tarde. We'll worry later. We will worry later. ¿Cómo se llamarán? What will they call themselves? Oh, do you have a singing group? ¿Tienes un grupo? ¿Tienes un grupo de cantantes? Do you have a group of singers? Oh, ¿cómo se llamarán? What will they call themselves? Now, what I want you all to do is to take note of this, write this down. Well, you definitely should be writing down everything. So these are questions and responses, okay? So to your left, you're going to see the questions. You have ¿A qué hora te despertará? ¿Cuándo se bañará? ¿Cómo se peinará? So after you write this down, I want you to write in English what these mean, okay? So you're the translator today. I want you to translate these sentences. These are some verbs that we've already covered in the last few lessons. So you should already be familiar with the verb despertarse, bañarse, and peinarse. So I know you guys already know what those verbs mean. If you don't know what those verbs mean, you need to go back a few lessons and start over from there. And I really mean that because after we get to 25 lessons, you should know every single lesson I covered, you should be able to understand it and use it in conversation. If there's any lesson that you did not quite understand, email me or go back and review it until you understand it and look for more examples. Okay, so no one should be moving on if you didn't quite understand the last lesson. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to go ahead and ask these questions and I'm going to be responding. Make sure you write it down in English. ¿A qué hora te despertarás? Me desperté a las 7 de la mañana. ¿Cuándo se bañará? Ella se bañará en la noche. ¿Cómo se peinará? Él se peinará el cabello hacia un lado. So go ahead and pause now and write it down in English what you think these sentences mean. So I'm going to go ahead and read the questions and answers one more time in Spanish, and I'm going to repeat it in English. ¿A qué hora te despertarás? What time did you wake up? What time did you wake yourself up? Me desperté a las 7 de la mañana. I woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning. ¿Cuándo se bañará? When did she bathe herself? When did she bathe? Or when did she take a bath? Ella se bañará en la noche. She bathed herself at night. ¿Cómo se peinará? How will he comb his hair? How will he do his hair? Él se peinará el cabello hacia un lado. I'll say that again. Él se peinará el cabello hacia un lado. He will comb his hair to the side. So once again, don't forget that you're just using the regular future tense conjugations. The has, a, hemos, han. And the reason I keep saying that is because time after time I hear students make the error when they're trying to use reflexive verbs in the future tense. They forget that the conjugation stays the same. The only difference is if you use a reflexive verb, once again, you use a reflexive pronoun. So let's go ahead and move on to conjunctions. So you ask me, Ambi, what are conjunctions? So conjunctions are divided up into two categories. You have the coordinating conjunctions and you have the subordinating conjunctions. So let's take a look at what are the coordinating conjunctions. But, or, and, so, thus, neither, nor, then. Sounds familiar? Yes, because we use them all the time in English. So in Spanish, let's go ahead and discover what each one are in Spanish. So you have pero is but. Not to be confused with perro. Perro is dog, okay? You don't want to be saying, I want to go to the store, dog. I don't want to go to the store. No, you want to say, I want to go to the store, but then again, I don't want to. Okay? So, pero, but. Or is o. O. Quiero comprar un carro o no quiero comprar un carro. I want to buy a car or I don't want to buy a car. You have y, which is and. Me gusta rojo y negro. I like red and black. Entonces, I say that a lot. Entonces, ¿qué tú quieres? So what do you want? Entonces, ¿qué tú quieres? That's a very informal way to say. So don't say this to no like adult that's a lot older than you. Then you have ni, which means neither or nor. No me gusta ese hombre ni la mujer. I don't like that man nor that woman. And then you have pues, which means then. Está bien pues. Okay then. So we are going to use the sentence examples for the subordinating conjunctions. So I'm just going to go through this right here and just read it in English and Spanish. Que, that. Mientras, as, or it can be while. Cuando, you already know that's when. Donde, you already know that's where. Desde que, since, and that's of course indicating time. Like since back then, since last year. Mientras que, while or whereas. Porque, because. Apenas, as soon as. So I want to point out here that two of these actually have a couple meanings. So que can be used for what, but that's with the accent over the E. Que can also mean that, which is what you see here, and que can also be used as a connector. And que also can be than. THAN. And then another word that you see here that can be utilized differently is porque. So porque together in one word is because, and porque can also mean for what when it's separated. Por, and then que with the accent over the E. ¿Por qué? For what? ¿Para qué? For what? ¿Por qué? Why? ¿Por qué te gusta a ella? Why do you like her? So let's move on to some sentence examples using these subordinating conjunctions. And make sure you're writing these down, by the way. And if you want to pause this video, write these down in Spanish and then answer them in English or what you think they are. So take a guess. You can do that and then resume the video so that you can see or hear me say it in English. So we have sé que quieres aprender. I know that you want to learn. Ella durmió mientras estudiabas. She slept while you were studying. Quiero aprender cuando tengo tiempo. I want to learn when I have time. Me encantan las montañas mientras que mi marido prefiere el mar. I love the mountains while my husband prefers the sea. Or it can also be interpreted as I love the mountains whereas my husband prefers the sea. Whereas or while. Then you have voy al cine porque me gusta la película. I'm going to the movies because I like the movie. Apenas podía oír la señal de radio. I could barely hear the radio signal. Ella apenas tenía tiempo para recoger la casa ante la fiesta. She barely had time to pick up the house before the party. And you can replace recoger to pick up. You can replace that with limpiar. I think that's what I meant to put in the first place. Limpiar. So she barely had time para limpiar la casa ante la fiesta. And rewind this back and try to repeat after me so that you can make sure that you're pronouncing the words correctly. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are the coordinating and subordinating conjunctions. And don't stop there with those sentence examples that I provided. Continue to create sentence examples for yourself and practice. And of course, utilize the voice recorder. Record yourself saying these sentences. Hear yourself saying these sentences. Like always, practice makes perfect. The only way that you're going to become a better Spanish speaker is if you practice speaking Spanish. Okay, so that's all for today. That concludes lesson 18 and 19, reflexive verbs in the future tense and using conjunctions and sentences. If you have any questions, like always, shoot me an email, aglanguagetutoring@gmail.com, and I will see you all next week for lesson 20 and 21. Adios.